Hello and welcome to the Responsive Family Sleep Podcast. I'm your host, Kim Hawley, holistic sleep coach, lactation consultant, peaceful parenting educator, and mom. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by all the conflicting sleep info, frustrated with sleep information that just plain felt wrong, or searched desperately for a truly gentle and responsive sleep approach, then you are in the right place. In each episode, we'll be answering your most pressing baby and toddler sleep questions, busting those sleep myths, and helping you understand truly developmental, biologically normal baby and toddler sleep, plus encouraging you to trust your intuition along the way. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. This week, we are talking about a topic I feel like I talk about a lot with my clients, and that is making bedtime easier through your most important superpower as a parent. And that is connection. And so connection is the answer to almost every struggle we have, or at least one of the answers. And when we're thinking about supporting an easier bedtime or supporting more independent sleep at night, connection in the evening is huge. And it's huge no matter what your day looked like, right? Whether you had your kiddo in childcare or you spent time with them all day, right? And the reason it's really huge in the evening is because sleep is not only one of, our most, not only, sleep is our most vulnerable state, right? And even when babies or young children sleep with us, like bed sharing or in the same room with us, room sharing, sleep is separation, right? I think that's easier to understand when they're in their own room because there is physical separation. But even when they're sleeping with us, there is that letting go of conscious awareness, which is still separation. And so how do we deal with separation? Connection, right? We want to fill them up on connection to buffer them ahead of this big separation at this hugely vulnerable time. And this is especially true if you were separated from your child all day for childcare, or just had a really busy day where you were together, but not as present, right? Which happens, right? We have stuff to do, errands to run, families to visit, friends to visit, like things to do. Like this happens naturally. These aren't huge disconnections. These are the normal small disconnections that happen that we need to then reconnect after. So when we're thinking about connection in the evening, I wanted to highlight 3 ways that you can think about connecting ahead of sleep. And this is not actually about the bedtime routine. I'm backing things up and thinking about before we even necessarily get to that bedtime routine, right? So how do we connect, right? So the first thing is making space for intentional connection, meaning that we have to be present. We have to slow down, right? It's not just, is your kiddo playing near you while you're getting dinner, but are you taking some time to intentionally reconnect and spend some time interacting with them? Are they getting your undivided attention? Not the whole evening, that's not necessarily realistic, but a nice focused dose of it. And if you have an older toddler or a big kid, I love special time for this, which is recommended by quite a few schools of thought in the responsive, peaceful, conscious parenting space. And it's a very specific kind of present play interaction with your child where they take the lead and you are there giving them that undivided attention, kind of basking in their presence. And I will link to special time in the show notes in case you have a kiddo you think this would be interesting to explore with. But all children of all ages, right, need that reconnection. So whether you do it as formally as special time or we're just pausing to really be more intentional and be with our kiddo more, right? That connection matters. Some ways I see it play out are like reconnection rituals, just carving out that time. Like, hey, I'm going to take 10 minutes to, give you my focused attention and play. And, if you have a partner, kind of swapping so they get some focused baby time or toddler time, and just making sure to slow down and really connect in. Going hand in hand with that is connection through play. And play is huge, right? It does so many things. It's how our kiddos learn about the world. And it's one really powerful way that we can connect with them. And play is great, right? Because if we're slowing down and interacting with a baby, we're playing with them. A lot of the times that's what we're doing. We're playing with them. If we're slowing down and connecting with a toddler, a lot of times we are playing with them. And that's lovely. And, maybe that's some baby or toddler safe roughhousing that gets everyone, laughing, and laughter releases, good hormones in the body, and it helps the body process out stress. And so, playing silly games, games that kind of get our wiggles out and get us all laughing and feeling like we are attuned, right? That we're really connected. And then you can take the idea of play, especially with those toddlers, preschoolers, right? Those bigger kids, and use play to help smooth out some of those transitions where we might get some pushback, or we might get, some points of tension. And so play can be a really great strategy there. Just have some fun with it. Get so much more cooperation. And again, it's more connecting, right? And then another important thing is empathy, holding space, right, for their experience. And sometimes that looks like just being present if they're upset. And I know a lot of parents grapple with this because we always want to solve crying. And if we can solve crying, right, if it's a solvable thing, then we want to do that. If they're hungry, if they're tired, if there's something that we can solve, then we want to do that. But sometimes they just need to process out emotions with us present and supporting them. And so recognizing that is still a really important connecting role. If you don't have an immediate solution to your toddler's, meltdown of upset, or just your baby being really fussy, then just be with them. Support them, right? That is connection. That will help them get to the other side feeling safe with you, right? In the safety of that relationship of being with you. And so when we think about what is that priority, right? Of the hours between, several hours before bedtime, or the time between getting home from daycare and getting your kiddo to bed. If you can pick one priority during that time, it's connection. And I know there's a lot of other competing priorities, right? Getting dinner on the table, eating dinner, cleaning up from dinner, probably cleaning up your child from eating dinner, getting through a bedtime routine. But the most important thing from a parenting perspective is connection. Connection after a day of separation, connection throughout the evening, really filling them up on it, and then, of course, connection throughout the bedtime routine that's helping them relax into sleep. I find that a lot of parents just haven't thought about the evening that way, and so we kind of flip the way we're thinking about it. It's like, oh, okay, investing here can have big payoffs, right? And this has a lot of value. And it is actually connected to sleep. And then by the time we get to the bedtime routine, really trying to stay really present during the bedtime routine and falling asleep process is also really important. So I hope this gives you a few new ideas for how you can use your wonderful superpower of connection. This works for babies. This is super important for toddlers, preschoolers, big kids. I mean, gosh, I think it still matters with my big kids, right? And they're really out of these phases, and we generally don't have issues at bedtime. But connection is the way that your kids want to cooperate with you and the way that they feel safe. And so it is a long-term parenting strategy that you will come back to and cultivate over and over and over again as you move into different parenting phases. Thank you for joining me today. I hope this episode left you feeling more informed, confident, and encouraged on your sleep journey. And just a reminder before you go that nothing in this episode is individualized to your specific sleep situation, nor is it to be taken as medical advice. Take what resonates, ignore what doesn't, and check with your healthcare provider about any medical concerns. Take a moment to subscribe to this podcast so that you'll never miss an episode. And take a moment to rate, review, or share an episode you love on social media. All of that helps parents just like you find me, this podcast, and this gentle and responsive sleep information. I'll see you next time.